So for today's video, I'm going to cover some external drives that I have been using for just a little over a year or less. So I'm going to cover some recent pickups that I have. So what prompted this video was for me to cover the products that I currently use. There are so many products out there, but as of now, this is what's been working for me. And out of all of the options that I looked at, I narrowed it down to these purchases that I've made for these particular external drives. So before we get into each one, I want to talk about the contents that's included for each one. Now for the two on the right here, these are the last two SSDs that I purchased, and I actually built these two right here, and I did an entire video on them. So if you want to check that out, I will have that in the description for you. But for the most part, the three on the left here are going to be purchased as is, and for the contents that were included, they came with 1 to 2 cables. So I talked about these particular two external drives, which are SSDs. And so for the first one, we have the RAVPower. And again, we're going to go into each one, but this is the first one I picked up. And then next is the Sandisk. So these are going to be the two that I have been using the longest. But again, I just want to quickly go over which ones that had the cables that included. So again, that's going to be the hard drive on the left, which is the LaCie one, which we're going to talk about first. And then we have I believe a cable came with the RAVPower as well, but I use a USB-C compatible cable for this one. And as you can see, the Sandisk came with its cable and as well as an adapter if you need to use it for USB-A. And then I also have been using the cable that came with one of my built SSDs. So let's go ahead and now talk about each one individually. Okay, so for the first one, we're going to talk about the LaCie Rugged external hard drive. Now this is the only hard drive that I currently have, and I plan on picking up another one, but as you know, storage can get quite expensive. But however, it is important for me to have another one as a backup, and that is one thing that I have learned over time is you pretty much going to need a backup to your backup, but I'm going to talk a little bit more about that towards later in the video. But getting back to this external hard drive right here, and some of you probably recognize the LaCie Rugged hard drive as one of the most popular hard drives out there. Pretty much a lot of people use this one, and I actually took some time to purchase this one just to check out other brands. I am familiar with other brands that I've used in the past, but for this particular go around, being that I produce some pretty value content for me amongst other files, so I wanted something that was really durable and that's going to be, reliable and, can pretty much withstand a little bit of toughness. So if you're not familiar with hard drives do have internal parts that move around, so you really don't need to move those too often if you can help it. But from what I understand in the research that I've done, these are pretty reliable and pretty doable, but I'm not going to try to test it out on how durable they are and what they can withstand if they are resistant to drops or anything like that. Even though it is advertised as such to be shock proof, resistant to extensive drops depending on what that feed is, I personally just want to make sure I take care of this as much as possible. So this one probably will stay at home and ready for me to offload whatever it is, like files that I need to back up. Again, this is the only hard drive that I currently own, but so far so good. I've already started testing it, and so far is pretty fast, being that it is USB-C compatible. So you have your USB-C port right here, and this is the 5 terabyte version with Gen 3.1 2x2. As of now, I believe this is the latest version available, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, so far so good. Now, when it comes to external hard drives, they're not going to be quite as fast as solid state drives, but this definitely gets the job done, and I feel like I didn't have to wait too long to save around maybe 2 terabytes of files on this particular hard drive. So I'm pretty happy with it so far, and hopefully it continues to provide the high quality usage and what I need it for a very long time. But again, I'm going to pick up a backup one because definitely want to make sure you have backup copies on everything that you need that you can't afford to lose. So next I'm going to talk about the RAVPower SSD. So this one's probably my first external drive that I picked up, but it's no longer available. I'm not really sure what happened here, but maybe they switched manufacturers and it's under a different brand now. But this one I purchased last year, and I purchased it at $160. Now this one is the 1 terabyte version. I also have a 512 gigabyte version, but already this one costs more than an external hard drive. And I want to talk about price as well a little bit later in the video, but you can get a an idea the difference between the price of a hard drive versus an SSD. Now when it comes to an SSD, these are going to be faster. Now this one has a readout speed of 750 megabytes per second, which is not very fast, but initially when I got it, I thought it was very fast. But over time, as I use other hard drives, I've learned that that speed definitely not the fastest out there, but it definitely gets the job done. And overall, I would say it's still a great pickup, and I haven't regretted this purchase at all since. Now I have been a little bit more tougher on this one because it doesn't have any internal parts that moves around. I'm able to, be a little less careful with it, although I try my best to take care of it just like any other drive as well. But for the most part, I will say it has definitely traveled with me, and so far so good as well. I definitely have enjoyed this one from RAVPower, and yeah, the backup option is just as good. So just like the LaCie Rugged drive, this one has USB-C connection, and that's one thing that was really important for me to have, is to have all my external drives to be USB-C compatible. So I can only have one cable to use with my laptop, which I'm currently using my M1 Max 16-inch MacBook Pro. So my goal is to have one cable for my MacBook, my external drives, and camera. Now, iPhone's a totally different situation. But anyway, getting back to this one, you get an LED light, and I talked about this one in other videos, like my travel tech videos. And so I will leave those videos if you want to know a little bit more about this one in the description for you guys to check out as well. So next we're going to talk about this small little portable SSD here, and this one is made by Sandisk. And I talked about this one as well, and again, this one be featured in other videos. After using this one for quite some time now, I have come to really enjoy how just compact it is, and it is a nice little color. It's very small in person. I'm not sure if the video is doing it a lot of justice, but it's so small and it can just literally almost fit in the center of my hand. But this one is the 500 gigabyte version, and I purchased this one. Actually, I got it on sale for $86. So far so good. It holds quite a bit depending on that file size. Again, for the videos and just tons of photos that I've put on this one, 500 gigabytes has definitely gotten the job done for me for quite some time. But over time, you can see that capacity. At least I have. But for the most part, I have enjoyed it a lot. Again, it is USB-C compatible, just keeping it present to future-proof, which I love on these SSDs and even on the LaCie hard drive. But yeah, you can see this one is kind of got the rugged look as well. It has traveled with me and definitely has been very durable. Again, I have been careful with each one of my external drives, but this one has definitely probably seen a little bit more usage than all of my other ones because I have been using this one a lot. So this one reads 1050 megabytes per second, and I will also include the write speeds as well for you to check out. So this one is even faster than my RAVPower, and I definitely see the difference. Again, depending on that file size, it can be done within a minute to 2 minutes, if not way less than that. So you really don't have a lot of time to chill, kick back after you finish your project. It's already saved, and I really enjoyed this one. Wanted to check out the Extreme Pro, but I decided to build my custom ones. I talked about how I did start off purchasing these instead of building one, but I will say if you want to purchase one, these are some really great options in my opinion. I've been using this one coming up to 1 year now, so yeah, it still is doing very well. So far, so good. So definitely looking forward to continuing to use this one. All right, so next I'm going to talk about one of the SSDs that I recently built. Now this one is by Sabrent, and this is the enclosure that I purchased. That was around $30. Now when it comes to building SSDs, I go into details and instructions, show you how I built this one along with the next one I'm going to show you in that video. So this one is the only one that I have used out of those two, and it has been super fast. Like this one I believe goes up to 2800 megabytes per second for the read speed, and wow, I'm blown away. I have already started testing and seeing the difference between the ones that I have used to save a large amount of files and to see how fast I can move, like probably at least a minimum around maybe 40 to 60 gigabytes of files over to the next SSD, saving those files onto this SSD. So that video will be coming up, and hopefully that gives you an idea of comparable price prices and functionality between different SSDs along with an external hard drive. But getting back to the Sabrent one, this one has been so nice to use. I mean, this one is just as small. It's a little bit longer, of course, as you can see here, but overall it has been great to use. I just can't express how fast this is, but I don't want to hype it up too much, but I have not regretted building this SSD. So again, we have the USB Type-C port on this one, and I believe this one is using the latest generation of USB Type-C. To not get too technical in this particular video, it varies on the types of USB Type-C connections, so you know that also has a lot to do with how fast you can write to your external drives. So maybe I'll go into that in another video, but so far the specs on this definitely seems to be checking off. I am very happy at making this one, and it's really nice. Now the metal casing is not that big of a deal for me. I have no issues with the weight, being that it is metal for the enclosure. So once again, if you're interested in building your own SSD and you want to start off with something like the Sabrent here, an affordable option in my opinion, then again I'll have that video in the description. And last but certainly not least, this is the TrebleEat SSD. Now this is the second one that I built that is also included in the video that I just referenced. So this one has the all metal enclosure as well. Haven't got a chance to use this one just yet because I am waiting for the cable to come in. This one has the Thunderbolt 3 USB 4. Not exactly the latest, we are at Thunderbolt 4, but I believe there's not many options out there for Thunderbolt 4 just yet. If there are, they're probably a little bit more expensive due to minimum options. Pretty much right now on the market is the Thunderbolt 3 USB 4 for SSDs, and again looking forward to trying this one out because this one, it was a little bit more on the expensive end versus the Sabrent SSD, but the build quality and just how much faster, I'm definitely going to determine that when I'm testing this one out. But I wanted to include this one as an option of SSD that you can build. As with anything that you purchase, make sure you get everything so that way you can properly test it out. However, there are cables out there that are compatible with these SSDs, but of course you have to read the fine prints on that. If you want to have an additional cable, definitely make sure it is compatible with your SSD enclosure and you can get the full optimum performance that you're looking for or that is featured on that particular product. All right, you guys, so that's pretty much going to wrap up this video. I hope you guys found it very helpful. It's pretty kind of short and condensed versus, you know, me providing a ton of information for you. Again, I might go into more details with each type of external drive so that way you can get more in-depth understanding of why you would go with one or the other or both. So again, your external hard drives are going to be typically more affordable than your SSDs here, but they're going to be a little bit slower as well. So there's kind of a, you know, sacrifice you're making with speed, but comparing the prices to the external hard drives and the SSDs, the external hard drives, you tend to be able to get more storage than the SSDs when you're looking at your budget. So for example, again, as far as pricing, the LaCie Rugged external drive, again, this is the 5 terabyte version. This one was $180 USD before tax. So this one costs nearly the same as my RAVPower 1 terabyte SSD. So you can already see the difference in the price. Not comparing size too much because this is still small, despite the comparison right now in size with the RAVPower and the other SSDs here. This is still considered portable in my opinion. And so again, this one is a little bit more rugged, so hopefully it can withstand more, but you want to still be careful with the hard drives because again, they have internal moving parts. So with all these options laid out for you, again, hopefully you found it helpful and as a good starting point of where you would like to invest your money as far as like storage. But you guys already know the drill. Hopefully you consider subscribing as well as giving this video a thumbs up. It definitely helps out a ton when you do that. I really appreciate it each and every time. Trust me, I see it. I really do, I promise. And again, I have other videos coming up for you guys, so hopefully you guys stay tuned for those. But as always, and I hope to see you in my next video as well as other videos, but I'll catch you guys later. Peace. All Alright you guys, just as a bonus, I have a recent accessory that I just picked up, and this is an external drive case. So they had a ton of options out there on Amazon, but this one kind of spoke to me a little bit more. Also, there were several colors as well, but you know, I decided to go with the black and red. And if you know, you know, but my favorite color is blue. I don't know, this one just looked a little bit better to me for some reason than how it was made in blue. I couldn't decide if it was drawing attention or not. You know, I like to keep things stealth looking, discreet, so this is why I went with this one. It has air case branding right here and the red stripe going across the top and the bottom of the case. I like this rubber piece pull tab that it has included on the zipper, so this was a really nice touch. Again, it has the air case branding on here, so I love little zipper attachments that helps open up the product a little bit better. And yeah, this is pretty much it. So I wanted to get one because I have my external drives all over the place, mainly my SSDs. Just wanted to be able to slide in my SSDs for storage, so we shall see. So I'll give you guys an update on this case.